Today we are going to be breaking down Demian Maia's, one of his favorite submissions, the rear naked choke. Now, I don't know if it's his all-time favorite submission or second favorite. I don't actually really know, but I can guarantee you this: if he's going to go to the back, which he often does, he's going to prefer going for the submission over anything else. And he actually has two submissions he goes for. And it's not a coincidence that he picked two of the most, highest rated submissions. Like, the probability of getting these two submissions are very high, especially if you practice jiu-jitsu for a very long time. And that was the rear naked choke and the triangle. We're not covering the triangle today. That's going to be for another video. Today is just going to be on the back control, his rear naked choke, and all the different kinds he does to really finish fights. One thing you're going to notice when you watch his fight, so Demian Maia will do this every single time, and almost every jiu-jitsu fighter in the UFC or any kind of MMA organization, they will not keep hooks forever at all. Once they take the back, they'll keep it for a few seconds to get comfortable, but they're going to eventually transition to a body triangle. Now, what is a body triangle? So pretty much, if you guys look at my legs right here, the body triangle is essentially going to comprise of my bottom hook going all the way across the belly. And then I'm going to have my outside foot lock on my shin bone. That's very important. Shin bone. And then I'm going to take my hook, place it behind and into their hamstring. I don't have to. I can keep it on the side. It's not a big deal. Some people will actually keep it on the inside. That's not intentional. That's accidental. And I'll tell you why you generally don't want to do that. But having it on the outside or having it on the outside hooked onto their leg. Now, why is the body triangle preferred? Why do people go for this? Well, first of all, like I said in the beginning, MMA is very slippery. It's a very, very slippery game. So if I just kept hooks, inevitably, eventually, they will slide off. They really honestly will. It's really hard. Like, you gotta be on point all the time, and when you start to get tired, things fall through the cracks. So the body triangle is sort of just like a way you just place it on, and then you're pretty much good. You'll see this. And I'll tell you, first of all, I'll say why they get stuck. So if you look at the hooks like this, right? If she just kind of wiggles her hips left to right, you see how there's a lot of rotation in the hips, right? If I were to apply the body triangle, when I go one across, lock, which we call a figure four. So this is called a figure four. But watch, once I lock, watch as she tries to rotate her hips. She hits the immediate roadblock, and once the roadblock, literally my calf muscle, essentially my calf muscle that's sitting right over here, she's turning and slamming into it. It's like a closed gate. There's no exit. The hooks have an exit, right? So my legs easily just be stretched open if the person's really good at it, really good at moving around it, right? There's an exit this way. But with the body triangle, there is no exit. Like, where is the exit, right? That's what you'll see a lot of MMA guys will literally just abandon the seatbelt sometimes, and they'll start just throwing strikes, because the person can't go anywhere. So just so you guys know, that's what he's doing on the lower half of the back control. He's going right for a body triangle right away. Watch any of his fights. Once he takes the back, once he settles it in, he's going right for that body triangle. And then just so you know why this hook happens. So why does this hook play a part? Where does this come in? Literally as simple as this. If she tries to roll herself to the opposite side, he'll stretch it. And as you stretch it, what's happening is this. It's hard to tell on camera, but she is essentially pushing her own abdominals into my leg that's going across, which does what? Makes it really hard to breathe. It's actually very hard to breathe in this kind of position. And I'm not squeezing at all. If I literally squeeze right now, you'd see her vomit, and it's unbelievable. It's a lot of pressure, It's no joke. So by them trying to rotate this way, if I can stretch them, right? They're stuck. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. It's very claustrophobic after a while, believe it or not. Now, I'm going to give her a break from that part. We're going to go right into the fun stuff. The submission. The actual rear naked choke. Now, for this, she doesn't have to be, I don't have to put her in a body triangle anymore. She's just going to sit right in front of me. The fundamental look is this. So you have bicep one side, forearm on the other side. You grab onto your bicep, and then you put your hand on your shoulder, and then you tuck. Right? Always tuck your eyes, just so as they try to reach up, they don't gouge your face or anything. That's more self-defense scenario, not really MMA, but So you go around and tuck. And then essentially all you want to do is squeeze. You can just squeeze your arm, but if you want an efficient squeeze, you want to retract your shoulder blades. So you want to roll your shoulder blades back, and then imagine just pulling your elbow through them. So as I'm over here, I pull my elbow through. It's very, very powerful and efficient. Now, and then just so you know, you can do this to any size person, doesn't matter. It looks funny this way, but you know, it could be a 300-pound bodybuilder, a powerlifter, it doesn't matter who it is, the neck is the same. And here's why. There's two kind of ways to choke somebody. You have a blood choke and you have a wind choke. The blood choke essentially is when you block the two carotid arteries that go up into the brain that supply oxygen. Essentially what you're doing is you're blocking that supply. Once you block that supply, essentially what it's doing is it's flushing out the oxygen in her brain. It's flushing it out, and then essentially what happens, she just passes out. Minimum of 7 to 10 seconds. Essentially what happens. It's totally safe to do. And by that, I don't mean just go around doing it, but it's not, it looks scarier, it looks way more damaging than it is. The only damage that can happen with a choke like that is if you hold it for long periods of time. If you hold it for friggin' 10 minutes after they're unconscious, yeah, and then, you know, you're gonna start going into the boundaries of brain damage, essentially. The wind choke, blood choke, the bicep blocks one, forearm blocks the other. This is the clean version, very elegant, and that's why when you squeeze, it's not really hurting as much as like you just can't really breathe, and then you feel yourself kind of going numb, and then you get passed out. The wind choke, this one's a painful one. This one's nothing other than just painful. You'll go out, but you're gonna tap first because of the pain. Essentially, it's just, I think there's like a crooked rear naked choke. So instead of lining it up elegantly and beautifully, generally speaking, you want to try to get your chin lined up, or sorry, your elbow lined up with the chin. This is a good sign that it's really like flush and clean. Just simply, it's just crooked, so it's just more angular. So now, if I retract and squeeze, my forearm is joined directly into the Adam's apple. It's very painful and uncomfortable, and they'll generally just tap because, first of all, you can't breathe in at all. There's no air, you're not breathing from your nose, nothing. So it's essentially just more crooked, just more of a crooked rear naked choke, and then you'll squeeze. Now, if you watch his fights, he will have two things come up all the time. He'll either have his arm go over the chin, so if she tucks her chin, it'll either go over the chin, or when he's lacing up his hands, you'll see his hand go on top of the head. Now, I'm going to kind of clarify those situations. MMA gloves are very bulky. They're very bulky things. So it's very hard to actually have the arm go behind the head. This is what he would want to do, 100%. Because if I do this, she can reach up with her hand and pull it down, right? And that just keeps defeating the purpose, because imagine, she pulls it down, I fight back to do it again. She pulls it down, and then, you know, you're just going to keep going at this, and it's very annoying, not really going to go anywhere. So ideally, he would want to do this. He'd want to have his hand go behind the head. But because of, again, the bulk of the glove, it's very hard. He has to resort to this. Now, is it better to have it where the chin is tucked, where you squeeze over that, or on the neck? It's, you know, it really depends, you know, on a few things. Number one, depends on your squeeze. How good is your squeeze? Like if you have a monster ability to just crack something, if they have their chin in, if they're tucking their chin, you're going to feel like you're going to break their jaw. Right? I've had it done to me before. It wasn't over my jaw, it was my tooth. Like it was on my front tooth. I swear I felt like if I didn't tap, it would have, like I would have swallowed all my teeth. It was really like a lot of pressure. Generally speaking, it's a lot more elegant and it's a cleaner finish as a choke, right? Whether it's blood or wind choke, doesn't really matter. But you'll see him do it often where it actually just goes over the chin. Now, why is that? To be honest with you, I'm pretty sure because he's just saying, screw it, to the hell with it. You know, they're fighting too much. I'm just gonna go over their chin. Because think about it, they're not gonna be like doing what she's doing here where the head is up. They're gonna tuck their chin. They're tucking their chin, you're fighting it. So eventually he just says, you know what, screw it. And he trusts his squeeze and he's gonna go for the finish. The second kind of rear naked choke style you have is the modified rear naked choke. So you have not only this one, but you have the modified one where you grab on what we call gable grip. And then you want to lock your forearm, right? You think of it like a wall. You brace it against their back. And same idea, retract the shoulder blades and squeeze. Same exact principle. And you have the same exact two styles of chokes, the blood and the wind. So you have exactly the same thing. Or you can have it crooked, right? Same exact, doesn't really change, just the hands change. Now, why does that come up? Well, because imagine if as I'm doing this, because of the gloves, they're going to reach up and they're going to pull my hand down, right? Now a natural look, naturally, it flows right into that kind of Captain America choke. So again, we're here, they're pulling, we're fighting, right? Going back and forth. Eventually, he just says screw it, and he attaches into the modified rear naked choke. Braces against the forearm on the back, and then starts to squeeze. So now, if you just quickly put it all together, imagine this, right? So takes the back, locks the body triangle, maybe hooks the leg, or by the way, I also mentioned this for a second, like if the hook is on the inside, generally it's not a huge deal, but they can still actually, if they take this leg, go over my ankle, right? That's a way they can actually cause some pain. It's not the worst thing, it's actually really not that bad, but you definitely don't want to just ignore it. Ideally, you always want to get it around, try to stretch the leg out. If you can't, it's not a huge deal. So anyways, locking the leg, we're fighting, we're trying to go for that choke. One other detail is he grabs on what we call motorcycle grip. That's with the underhook hand, goes over, grabs the wrist. This prevents them from moving. It's one less arm to defend with. He goes around the neck. Doesn't matter for him if it's under the throat or over the chin. Doesn't actually matter. Ideally, he'd want it under the neck for sure, because it requires way more juice to squeeze on the chin. But anyways, so he gets whatever he can, and then he tries going for the grip. And remember, there's two kinds, blood and wind. He's either going to go for whichever one kind of is available to him. And just so you guys know, that sign was what? Is the elbow, right? If the elbow's lined up with the chin underneath it, it's a sign that he's going to get a blood choke. But if you see it's crooked, then you know it's a wind choke and it's painful because they wince, their faces squeeze. So I'm going for the choke, and because the gloves are bulky, I can't go behind the neck. So they reach up and they pull. They're pulling down, reach up and they pull. So maybe I switch, and you'll notice he switches to that modified rear naked choke. Then he locks, he squeezes, and then he arches his back to the finish. So there you go, guys. I wanted to break down Demian Maia's, one of his favorite positions, his favorite submissions, is the back control with the rear naked choke. And then more of a modified back control with the body triangle, and then trying to go for Captain Americas and what have you. I try to go into as much detail as I can, and you know how I am, I tend to ramble on a lot, so this is going to be a lengthy video, but I hope if, you know, the next time you watch him fight, or you watch his highlights, you can look and say, oh wow, I notice what he's doing now, I can see why he does that. And it just makes your, you know, the more you know about it, the more you know about anything, it makes it more enjoyable to watch, makes you appreciate it more, makes you more humble about it. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give you guys as much detail. And then think about it, it was just two moves. It was just the body triangle and the rear naked choke. But I try to give as much as I can in each category, just so you guys, again, like I said, watch it and go, you know what? I know what's going on, and you know, it makes it a lot more fun. Don't forget to like our video, guys. Like the video, share it, helps with our algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys on the next video.